What's up, people? I'm Shaggy, the opinionated hippie. Gonna celebrate a little bit of Texas today and in the next video, as we're gonna take a deep dive into ZZ Top studio albums and rank those suckers. Gonna start with the 70s albums today, and then the next video will be all the other albums. Divide that into two parts. Yeah, I'm super excited. That little old band from Texas. I think Texas has given us two really good things in the past half century, ZZ Top and the San Antonio Spurs. I'm not a Cowboys fan, so pick your own fight about that. Ann Richards was a good governor back in the day, but I was barely here for that. But anyways, let's get on to the music. What is the Zappa connection to ZZ Top? Because I know at least one of you is here for the Zappa connection. There's a couple of connections. Frank was on BBC One in like 1980 playing DJ. He played Jesus Just Left Chicago. He did a stint at a San Jose, California radio station earlier, and I think he played, I don't know what he played on that, but I'm pretty sure he did a stint and he played a ZZ Top song on that. He's also been known to praise Billy Gibbons as one of the guitar players that he actually likes. And I'm pretty positive that in the, I think it's fall 75 shows, in the very beginning of that tour, they would come out and they'd play this little vamp before, like in the beginning of the show, kind of like a tush, tush, tush type vamp. I'm pretty sure there's a couple shows where Napoleon is singing, vamping on the song I Thank You, which was a Sam and Dave song. ZZ Top covers it on Deguello. Pretty sure Napoleon was singing I Thank You prior to ZZ Top covering it. So there's another connection. I'll have to find proof of that. But yeah, that's all I got. Those are my connections. Love this band. Love ZZ Top. Seen them live a whole bunch of times. Billy Gibbons is a fantastic guitar player. Hendrix would sing his praises back in the early days before Hendrix passed away. So yeah, we got 6 albums in the 70s. Going to go from 6 to 1. I'll put up the list when I'm done. Next video, we'll do the 80s and all the rest of them. And then we'll meld those two lists. So yeah, here we go. There's not a bad album in the 70s. So this ranking goes from my least favorite to my favorite. None of these are bad, so I think you're pretty much safe with all of these, though I think 2 of them are much better. Not much better, but definitely stand above the rest. But anyways, that's enough yakking. Let's get on to number 6. My number 6 is their 5th album, Tejas, Friends, plus Texas, the place we live, I live, they live, they're from. I think this is the first album in their first 5, and they kind of recover after this next one, where maybe they were running out of songwriting ideas. The previous album was half live, half studio. The studio stuff was absolutely fantastic, but maybe they didn't have enough material to fill out 2 studio sides. If the quality of the other studio side was up to what we do get, then that would have been a mistake not to do that, but maybe it wasn't. Maybe they were struggling, and these are some of the leftovers. Who knows? I think this is the only album up in the 70s where their distinct sound, just that sort of streamlined, efficient, tightly wound, great, concise guitar playing, that sort of just streamlined, effective Texas boogie Southern rock thing they do. I think this is the first time where that sound alone just kind of carried them through, and that's kind of all they needed. I also think like the template for like the Meat Puppets, once the Meat Puppets got past like their first 2 albums and kind of worked out some of their punkier edges and became a little more streamlined, I think the template for a lot of what the Meat Puppets would do is right here in this album and other albums, but this one more so than others. I do like this album. I just don't think there's really only a handful, a couple songs that really, really stand out. The rest of it is just like solid, reliable ZZ Top. The first 2 songs, It's Only Love and Arrested for Driving While Blind, I like both of those songs. I just don't think either one of them work as a strong opener. It's Only Love is kind of one of the poppier, more chiller things that we've gotten. It works, great rhythms, really tightly wound writing, nice little harmonica jam in it. It just doesn't feel like an opening song. Feels like it's like this mid-tempo thing that drops 3 or 4 in after we've brought some heat. Arrested for Driving While Blind has this sort of blues rock, boogie, loose, jammy vibe. Blind literally means getting drunk and not being able to drive. Some really nice bluesy solos in there. But this one also It feels like this should go later in the album. This is like your party, looser blues song. We kind of jam out after we've done some tighter things. So the sequencing gets me. El Diablo, third song, absolutely amazing. This kind of slinkier groove reminds me of like a little Leonard Skinner, like On the Hunt type, a little more low key and menacing type vibe. Really interesting little riff that runs through it. Really, really like this song. Also couldn't work as an opener, but I think it's the one thing so far that really stands out as something kind of unique and kind of different. Then we get Snappy Khaki, which is kind of oddly, weirdly kind of funky. Little experimental, maybe doesn't all quite work. Fun though. Enjoy and get it on. Some really great guitar slide work in here. This is just your straight up blues rock upbeat ZZ Top vibe. $10 Man, really scrappy slide intro into this nice driving sort of very typical ZZ Top type Texas rock. Little menacing in the energy. Pan Am Highway Blues, super fast riff. Very Meat Puppetsy, really great energy in this song. Avalon Hideaway is kind of like ZZ Top meets the Allman Brothers. There's a little early Allman Brothers jamming vibe. Kind of the riff kind of flirts with a little one-way out action. Really active drumming on this. Beard is just kind of going crazy and maybe even doing a little too much, but experimental slightly in a way. And the last two songs are fantastic. She's a Heartbreaker, just like this fun, poppy, pseudo country rock type thing, almost like a friendlier version of Mexican Blackbird, which is on a album we'll talk about in a couple. Almost has this Rolling Stones type, Dead Flowers type vibe, not as cheekily country as that, but that kind of energy, and it works. And then Asleep in the Desert is this beautiful Spanish flavored instrumental that closes out. Not without its highlights, not without first three songs really strong, last two songs really strong. The middle's just kind of average and typical and slightly experimental, but not that successful. Strong album, but in the 70s, my number 6, Tejas. My number 5 is their debut album, ZZ Top's first album, came out in 1971. The ZZ Top sound is here. They know what they're going to do. It's streamlined, it's clean, it's economical. They don't waste any business. Billy Gibbons is like, knows what he's going to do and he gets it done as a guitar player. There's a loose, jammy feel to a lot of these songs, even though they're all very short and kind of don't waste any time getting done what they need to get done. I do feel like it's almost like a Texas version of Booker T and the MGs. Like, once you know the ZZ Top sound, you know the ZZ Top sound. What Dusty's bringing on bass, what Frank's bringing on drums, what Billy's bringing on guitar. You just, those identifiable vocals of Billy, even when Dusty steps in. Like, you just, that sound is here, fully baked, once they appear. This is just at 5 because the songwriting is not quite yet like, oh, that's just an outright like S-tier song. Opens up with Somebody Else Been Shaking Your Tree, signature sound, little extra country flavor and that little slide, little pedal steel that comes in, maybe a little more of that, but super tasty, great bass, awesome opener. Brown Sugar, like the first minute and a half is just guitar and vocal, really, really bluesy guitar, gritty vocals, great song, just a really nice, loose, jammy feel that kind of, while this band is kind of defining its own sound, it's showing a little bit of where their roots of what they're coming from. Swank, great, just laid back Texas groove. Going Down to Mexico, a story about going down to Mexico. Really neat little upbeat jam in the middle of this that's really cool. Part of this reminds me of Spirits. I've got a line on you, babe. That kind of upbeat type groove. Old Man kind of reminds me of Tuesday's Gone, that the Leonard Skinner, kind of that slow bluesy ballad that ZZ Top does perfectly. Like when they slow down to do that bluesy ballad thing, it sounds effortless, it sounds cool, it's relaxed, and anytime they go into that ballad mode, it's gonna succeed. Old Man completely succeeds. Almost has some Eagle-esque harmonies in there, and this is before the Eagles even dropped their first album. Neighbor, Neighbor, heavier groove, more mid-tempo ZZ Top rock, certified blues, really tasty blues song with some great Gibbons playing in there. We get this nice sort of new groove about halfway through for the solo section. Bedroom Thang, more of a slow burn-in type mid-tempo thing. Just some great frantic spurts of energy throughout the song. A lot more dynamic. Just got back from babies. Another laid back, bluesy, tasty. They do this so well. And then Backdoor Love Affair, which is kind of your typical bluesy rocker, ZZ Top type thing. The slower things are probably the highlights, and the things that are maybe a little more blues indulgent because Billy gets to just shred a little more and show off his chops. But it's a solid debut. Bodes well for the rest of their future. It's a good listen. My number 5, ZZ Top's first album. My number 4 is their second, 1972's Rio Grande Mud. I love how Texas these album titles are. 2 of their best songs kick off this album. Francine, which is a weird little song. There's controversy on the internets about this just because there is a line about she's only 13. But then there's also this weird line of, if I caught her with my mother's son, which would either be himself. So maybe he's like, okay, I know this is wrong. Or, and this is what I've read interpretations of, because I'm not a big fan of rock and roll, like sexualizing preteens or teens. It's mostly teens. I don't know if they've ever sexualized preteens. That's a bigger problem. But that this is, your teen angst love affair from the viewpoint of a kid who's, in love with a 13-year-old. And maybe the mother's son is my brother and I'm going to cut him down if he dares hit on you. So anyways, it's a fantastic number. And then the second song, Just Got Paid, is an all-time classic. ZZ Top, Mount Rushmore version of a song. I think this is just the riff, the slide work, the lyrics, everything about this. This is as tightly wound, efficient Texas rock as you get. Really nice little middle jam in here. Just Got Paid. Maybe worth the price of admission alone. Then from here on out, you get like Mushmouth Shoutin', kind of a harmonic classic blues stomper. Another one, I think the deep blues stuff should be later on the album. You need to lay the groundwork first before you dive headfirst into the blues. I think this would have worked if it's like the last track on side A or deeper on side B. That's whatever. Cocoa Blue, nice upbeat ZZ Top rocker with some nice harmonica. Chevrolet, fun, really bouncy blues rock. Main riff sounds like something that I just can't quite put my finger on, but that riff, there's something to the Chevrolet riff. Apologies to Pearly, nice bluesy upbeat instrumental jam with some really super tasty just Billy going off guitar playing. Barbecue, it's a song about when is she going to make me some of that barbecue. Another just a great Texas song. Great middle break in here. Yeah, we need more songs about barbecue. And then we get one of their slow ZZ Top ballads, just another instant classic. Sure got cold after the rain fell. The rain did not fall from the sky. It fell from my eye. Yeah, it's a great song. And it's just so restrained, so tasty. This band knows how to slow it down, but still keep the intensity. I mean, almost better than any other band. Scorpions win the power ballad, heavy metal, hard rock sweepstakes, 100%. ZZ Top wins the slow blues, slow burners. In my categories. Whiskey and Mama, like a nice heavier blues rocker, typical ZZ Top type thing. And then the last song, Down Brownie, more just Texas blues rock. Just really great stuff. 3 fantastic songs. Francine, Just Got Paid, Sure Got Cold. The rest of them are just a little bit better than the debut album. Just really good stuff. ZZ Top doing what they do best. My number 4, Rio Grande Mud. My number 3 is their fourth, 1975's Fandango. This is the one that's half live, half studio. The first half being live, the second half being studio. The studio side is almost perfect, if not perfect. 6 songs, half of them are just stone cold classics. Nasty Dogs and Funky Kings open, and the music is worthy of the title Nasty Dogs and Funky Kings, or vice versa. Really just your tight ZZ Top Texas funk. Great riffs, 30 seconds of a fade out. We don't ever need a fade out. Let's not do any of that. Really nice run. This is just absolutely fantastic song. Blue Jean Blues, one of those slow blues songs. They just do so well. Just another instant classic right there. Finally found my old blue jeans. She's wearing them. If I get them back, it means that I got her back. So it's a good thing. Balinese, just really feel good Thai rock song. Probably the weakest thing on the side, but it's still good. Mexican Blackbird, which is a song that sounds like it belongs in Quentin Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez's From Dusk Till Dawn. And yes, it's in that movie, in the half of the movie when they go to the Mad Bar south of the border. That is exactly what this song sounds like. Yeah, it's about a Mexican prostitute. It is absolutely just sleazy and super just feels like what it's about. I'm pretty sure I used to hear this on the radio. I remember hearing this on the radio. I'm pretty sure they did not censor it anyway, so they got the word puta on the radio in Southern California where I grew up. Mad love to ZZ Top for that. Heard It on the X, another just Mount Rushmore song about a pirate radio station coming from Mexico into Texas, playing all kinds of old classic blues and things at normal radio stations. I heard it on the X. Everything about this song is perfect. 2 minutes and 25 seconds of ZZ Top boiled to perfection. Perfection, though we do have the dreaded fade out. Don't fade out. And then it comes up with Tush, one of the best opening riffs ever. That opening riff, everything about Tush, another song that's like just over 2 minutes long, comes in, gets the job done, leaves you wanting more. Absolutely fantastic. Only 6 studio songs on this, but they are so incredibly good that this is at number 3. The live side is not bad, but it's only 3 songs. And if you look at set lists from this era, there's 3 songs. The first one is Thunderbird, a cover. They apparently rewrote it, but it was already written by somebody else, and the similarities were so much they had to acknowledge that they didn't write it. Song called Thunderbird. It used to open their shows, so it makes sense as an opening track on here. It works. It's your high energy bar band type rock. Almost feels like an Aerosmith type party rock song, like something Aerosmith would drop at the end of a set when they're reaching into their bag of tricks and pulling out these old like rock classics. Get high, everybody get high, kind of one of the reframes. It works as an opening song. Problem is, the next 2 songs on that tour were the last 2 songs of the show. So we go from this opening, skip the entire show, and then we got 2 more songs which would normally close a show, which are both covers. Cover of Jailhouse Rock. I don't ever need a cover of Jailhouse Rock. I love that Blues Brothers soundtrack. I don't even need that cover of Jailhouse Rock. A really killer slide solo. It's really short. And that goes into the Backdoor medley, which they play Backdoor Love Affair, Mellow Down Easy, back into Backdoor Love Affair, Long Distance Boogie medley, Long Distance Boogie. They're in and out of that. There's some indulgent talking. There's some like just minimal, like just kind of riding the drum groove for a while. It would work at the end of the show or at the end of like a live LP. I don't think it particularly works when the Backdoor medley, which is like 9 minutes long or so, is only one of 3 songs. Seems a little indulgent. Also, to put it on side A and side B also feels weird if you're listening to the album like on a CD or you want to go in order. A lot of weirdnesses about this album. But the studio side is amazing. And so that's why it's my number 3, Fandango. My number 2 is their 6th, released in 1979, Deguello. Deguello. Means this, literally. Also means like no quarter. Apparently was a rallying cry, or it was the name of the bugle call they would make, the Mexican army, Santa Anna's army would make at the Battle of the Alamo. Deguello. So yeah. All right. Love the Texas connection again. San Antonio. All right. Perfect album. Like it's darn near perfect. Maybe the last 2 songs should be switched. Other than that, like this is just top, ZZ Top. Opens up with only time they've covered songs other than that live album. The Sam and Dave cover, I Thank You, is the opener, the one that I'm pretty sure Napoleon Murphy Brock would sing snippets of on that 75 tour. Maybe it was the 76 tour. The epitome of cool. This song, the laid back rock of I Thank You, epitome of cool. 2 songs later, I'm Bad, I'm Nationwide. You just want to roll the window down, or you want to put the top down. You want to do something so the wind can blow in your hair and you can just cruise down the streets, and like you want everybody to know you're bad and I'm nationwide. Then towards the end of the album, what should have been the last song but is instead of the penultimate song, we get Cheap Sunglasses. Another. Do we get any cooler ever in the history of music than those 3 songs? And they're all on one album. This band is just like confident, a little cocky, like, yeah, perfect. There's 3 absolutely amazing songs. Opens up with I Thank You, epitome of cool. She Loves My Automobile. It's more of a traditional upbeat blues type thing with horns. Very suitable, kind of 50 blues rock pseudo vibe. Song about a car deserves this kind of vibe. Yeah, almost like referencing the Blues Brothers on the previous album. Like a song you could see the Blues Brothers do with that full horn section that they had, the Booker T band from the movie. You could see the Blues Brothers covering this song. I'm Bad, I'm Nationwide. Just, you're going to put your cheap sunglasses on. You're going to roll down the street, thanking people and looking cool. A Fool for Your Stockings. Another one of those slow burning blues where they're just so cool and it's so perfect. Manic Mechanic, which is the weirdest song on this album. Purposefully weird. Billy Gibbons apparently listened to like some, not a podcast, but listened to something about stuff you could do in the studio, and he had it done in the studio. And so it's got some weird just production manipulations and vocal manipulations, but then it also has this really great guitar playing and this sort of like guitar line that gets repeated towards the end that kind of reminds me of something you might have heard on like Ice Cream for Crow or Doc at the radar station, like a Captain Beefheart type guitar line. Really cool stuff. We get Dust My Broom, Robert Johnson cover. Woozy, Drunken, Slide-Infested Blues. This sounds like something that could have fit on Bob Dylan's Highway 61 Revisited or Blonde on Blonde. It is that kind of just woozy, drunken energy, upbeat, fun. Great cover. Low Down in the Street, kind of a laid-back ZZ Top mid-tempo rock groove. Hi-Fi Mama, this is like if Little Richard started ZZ Top. If Little Richard played guitar in a ZZ Top Texas boogie band instead of played piano. That's what Hi-Fi Mama is. Then we get the super cool of Cheap Sunglasses. Great use of keyboards. And then Esther Be the One, probably the most pop thing on here. I think it should have switched places with Cheap Sunglasses. Cheap Sunglasses should close out this album so you can just be like, dun, 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 you just roll down the street all like cool. Dun, 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 dun. That's the way this album should have ended. But it is a great listen. 6 albums in. They're ready to go into the 80s. My number 2, The Whale. And my number 1 is their third, 1973's Tres Hombres, another pure Texas name. Love it. 3 men. There's no baby, though. 3 of the greatest ZZ Top songs ever are on here. Waiting for the Bus, absolute classic. I think we live in a world in which we have long since underappreciated the absolute genius of Waiting for the Bus. Billy's guitar playing on here, Hendrix-esque, on fire, absolutely ridiculous. That goes into Jesus Just Left Chicago, their greatest of all time slow burning blues songs. Take me with you, Jesus. Like just a nasty song. And then LaGrange is on here. I mean, I think we've reached the point in music where LaGrange is just like, it's like considered as this, just this, I don't know, almost this like, what's the word, novelty type Texas blues rock song that's not one of the greatest guitar songs of all time. Like, come on, people. Like, we need to like, I mean, I know I'm tired of listening to it, especially living in Texas. Like, they play it everywhere all the time. But man, when you sit down and listen to it, it's buried deep on side 2 of this album. You're just like, yeah, man, this thing's a beast. Like, and the rest of this album is no joke. Opens up with Waiting for the Bus, Jesus Just Off Chicago, with that awesome, weird little segue between the two. Doesn't get better than that. Then we get Beer Drinkers and Hellraisers, Billy and Dusty trading vocals. This sounds like you're in a Texas saloon rocking out at midnight and everybody's drinking and there's sawdust and peanuts on the floor and dust everywhere. I mean, we're just letting Billy cook. Just cook, Billy. Go. Master of Sparks. Narrator gets trapped in this weird metal death ball machine that gets thrown off the back of a truck and he loses his claim to the title of Master and Sparks. No idea what's going on lyrically, but it's a cool little story. Great, really super aggressive, tight rock energy. Hot, blue, and righteous. We got our slow, patient, relaxed ZZ Top balladry, like almost a spiritual vibe in this thing. Just the guitar solos, like 5 notes of like Jerry Garcia intensity. Yeah, bow down, people. Something good's happening to me. We got Move Me On Down the Line, kind of a poppy southern rock type thing, almost a Doobie Brothers vibe, but with that ZZ Top's like heavier rock edge. Also reminds me of just, there's a momentum to this song that kind of, move me on down the line. There should be a momentum if you're going to move on down the line. Reminds me of Grand Funk's Take Me. Doesn't sound like Take Me, but just that like, take me. You're always looking forward to the next verse in that song. Precious and Grace. Great story about Precious and Grace. They will show you a good time, I promise you. Super like herky-jerky type groove. Great slide guitar that's almost piercing at the end. Kind of menacing. Crazy little runs and an upbeat slide solo in the middle. Fantastic stuff. Then we get LaGrange, like dropping 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 songs in. Boom. Crazy. Shake, Chic. Cleaner, lighter, funkier, almost like a throwaway Texas funk. It feels like the least essential song on here, but then we settle into this kind of chill jamming vibe that like really works. And you kind of need it after LaGrange because LaGrange is such a beast. And you're like, all right, I got this. And then we close out with Have You Heard, like a slow blues jam. It's just, the last 2 songs are probably the weakest. But the first, 8 songs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 are like darn near perfect. Tres Hombres, they're number 1. We got one great, maybe 2 good albums in the 80s. Doubt they will dethrone this, but for now, yeah, that's my number 1 of the ZZ Top 70s era. Tres Hombres. Yeah, that's it. Let's look at the list. And that is what they look like in typewritten form right there. They're all good. Like, at the worst, the one at the bottom of the list just sounds like ZZ Top doing good ZZ Top stuff instead of great ZZ Top stuff. And then as you go up the list, it just gets better and better. And those top 2, and really the studio side of number 3 are just really the cream of the crop so far, though the other 3 are not without really strong moments. But yeah. That's all I got. Thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts on ZZ Top, on these albums, all that stuff. Things I messed up on. You know how this stuff works. Subscribe, like, share, comment, and go listen to ZZ Top if you've not discovered them because they're absolutely fantastic. And yeah, all right. Thanks. Peace. Talk to you later.